Hi there! Welcome to 60 Matthews. I'm Matthew, and this is a week in the life of a van. I know it's been a while, and I'm sorry, but I'm back. I've been spending a lot of time in the studio, still getting it set up, still working on things, and enjoying the access to a power outlet, but I'm still very much living in the van. The plans are finalized for the next iteration of this build, and now that it's not dreadfully cold outside, I'll actually get to start building out this thing in the next couple of weeks. It doesn't seem too complicated of a build. There's not much to build, really, so I'm hoping it'll only take like a couple of weeks to get it finished. That's for later, Matthew, though. Right now, though, it's time to take an antsy puppy on a walk. You want to walk? It's Monday, and it's really gross outside, so I am in the studio today. I'm gonna do some writing on this new book that I've been working on. I'm only on chapter like 2 or 3. It's completely separate from the Cure List series. It's not science fiction or fantasy in any way. It's a fiction novel. I've had the idea in my head for a long time, but I didn't really know the story. I just kind of knew the concept of what I wanted to do. I've been fascinated with cults and cult leaders and stuff like Scientology and how it can exist. But then I saw the documentary Wild Wild Country that really kind of put this story into perspective and kind of gave me a starting point with what I wanted to do. It's about this woman who at an early age realizes that she's really good at farming, and she realizes this is all she wants to do. So whenever she graduates from high school, she buys a farm and this big massive land in probably somewhere like Mississippi. And originally she starts with this really successful farm. She has people who come in and she trains them really well. She's kind of an enigma. She's just kind of this very charismatic person where everybody is just attracted to her and wants to be around her and wants to learn from her. So at first it's just really innocent. She's just really good at farming. She's really good at knowing the livestock. She's really good at managing the compound. And eventually it just starts to get more and more success to where it becomes a cult. Eventually it grows into this massive like black market, kind of a society within a society. It is completely self-sustaining. They have their own currency, and so that's how they're able to get away with a lot of the illegal activity that goes on in the compound. And I really just wanted to explore all the different things I could do with this kind of concept. So far though, I'm only on chapter 3. I've been doing a lot of the groundwork of like, I knew where the story started, I knew where the story ended, and I needed to figure out kind of how it went from here to here. The way I've explained it is that I had Anakin, this cute little innocent kid, and then I had Darth Vader, who was this ultimate villain, and in the middle I have Hayden Christensen. So basically I have a middle section that needs a lot of work. But I've worked through the whole story, all the beats, all of the like themes and what I want to tell with the story, like what I want to say with it, because it's going to get a little political, I think, but we'll see whenever it comes down to it. But so far this is all theoretical, so I need to do the actual work of getting words on the page. So that's what's next. Good morning, Hank. It's Tuesday. I wanted to talk this morning about how kind of normal van life is. And it's probably because I kind of like transitioned into moving into the van. Like whenever I was building it out, it took like probably a full like year overall to really like move in, to get everything like built and to get everything set up. And then I started to I was still living in the house, so I was able to kind of spend some time in the van and kind of get used to that schedule. It's funny because I actually had to like pack. I would have to like go out and like move everything out into the van and kind of do some stuff, but like not all the electrics were set up at that point, so I had to go back into the house during the day and unpack everything and kind of like move my coffee stuff out and vice versa. Some stuff I was able to like keep in the van, but I wasn't sleeping every night in the van, so like I kept having to move back and forth. But eventually like it did become like normal. By that point I had kind of already gotten into the habit of like using less electricity. I was paying attention to like the resources that I used and all that kind of stuff, so I had already switched to using a hand grinder. I just liked the like routine in the morning of grinding the coffee. And that like physical activity kind of woke me up. I'd already started to use like a French press and a mocha pot, so ways of brewing coffee that don't require electricity. Using the alcohol stovetop was kind of a new thing for me, but I had gas in the house that I was staying in, and most of the time I was just like boiling water or boiling something on a pot, so it wasn't anything like that I had to set the temperature a lot. So that was an easy transition. But one of the reasons why I've stuck with van life so long is because it just became my new normal, and it really isn't that much different than most people's normal. I mean, yeah, I get that it's weird. Like you have to find parking spots every night, like everything is really compact, you have to downsize a lot. So I get how weird it is, but really whenever you start to think about it, and whenever I start to explain it to people, and whenever I lived my life, I thought that it was going to be this crazy new transition. But really I was waking up in a bed every morning, I was cooking my breakfast, making my coffee, driving somewhere to either go to work or to go shopping or do whatever. It made everything a lot more convenient. So whenever I was at work and I got like a 30-minute break, I didn't have to like go and buy something. I could just go out to my van, make some lunch, and then come back. So it was a lot of time saved that way, and I was saving a lot of money. And whenever I went to go get groceries, I didn't have to like drive to the store, get all my stuff, put it in bags, put it in the buggy, take it all in to the car, unpack it into the car, drive home, unpack all the stuff from the car to the kitchen, and then put everything up. Literally, I would drive to go get groceries, and then I would take the groceries to my car and unpack them. And that was it. So, I mean, like, it was things like that that made it a lot more convenient. So yeah, I traded out inconveniences like always being able to plug into a wall socket and not paying attention to how much electricity I'm using, and having to drive and find parking spots at night. So things like that are less convenient, but I get a lot of convenience in other ways. But mostly I just wanted to talk about how not weird van life is compared to other forms of life. Everybody has a different way they live, and this is extremely weird for some people, but whenever I start to explain it to people, they're kind of like, oh, that actually starts to make a little bit more sense. Just more reasons for you to think about going on more adventures in a van or in a vehicle, or more adventures in general. It's Friday, and I'm back in the studio today. So I have been working on the cult book that I was talking about, but something else has kind of been itching at me to work on, so I've been working on that as well. And that is the third book in the Kirlith series, The Way to Raggio. So far I've only written like a few paragraphs, and I knew the story, I knew kind of beat for beat what happens, but I haven't been able to really like get the ball rolling with that book. So I'm into the second chapter with it. I kind of know the initial like scenes that I want to talk about, the kind of the exposition and everything I want to explain at the beginning of the book. So that's what I've also been working on, but today I want to work on a new game. Another new game. With the virus that's going on in 2020 and now bleeding over into 2021, I've wanted to kind of, I've been thinking about what I could do with that game mechanic of like one thing spreading to another thing. Also recently I have like fully sat down and like really engaged in watching the movie The Matrix. I had only kind of seen it in passing before, and I knew kind of what happened with the red pill and the blue pill, and I knew what it was about, but I never actually like sat down and watched the movie in its entirety. And it's amazing. The first one is so good. But I started thinking about that, and also around this time I had a computer virus. One of the reasons why I haven't been able to upload and to work and to edit on videos is because my computer has been kind of crapped out. It turns out that I didn't have a virus. It was just something in like the Windows update that kept like snagging on an update, and it would just, I don't know, there was some kind of corrupted file somewhere or something. But I was working with a friend of mine to try and get it figured out and get it worked out. But I wasn't able to run a lot of my programs. A lot of them I had to like download or like uninstall and then re-download, so I had to work on that. And then for the most part that fixed it, but then DaVinci Resolve, my video editor, started to crash on me, so I had to ultimately had to reset the entire computer. And so I'm still working on reinstalling all of my programs: Unity, DaVinci Resolve, Sprite, Blender, SketchUp, all of those kind of things. So that's what I've been working on, and the idea of the virus kind of got stuck in my brain. And with all of the rest of the stuff that I've been thinking about as far as game mechanics goes, with like the Matrix and the virus that's currently plaguing the world, I thought about the idea of like one thing, like red versus blue, and you're trying to play like a game of graffiti, and so like the red player's trying to gain as much like red stuff as they can, and the blue player's trying to get as much blue stuff as they can. So I came up with the idea of spray paint like graffiti. So the person walks around to different like walls and tries to spray them to try and like own them. There will also be guards and stuff like that will like come up and try to like attack you, and so the way it works is that you don't really die. It's just that like once, like you start off with like the player and then the guards, and then as soon as the player dies, the player then gets converted to a guard, and like all of a sudden the guard is just the player, and so they're like, you only have as many lives as you have like people. And so once like there's a certain percentage, or once the timer runs out, or whatever the win state is, win-lose state, whatever that state is, that's just basically how you win, is you acquire more stuff than the other person. So it's a very simple idea. It's something that I wanted to get done really quickly, just because it is kind of simple. The hardest part is going to be the AI. I've already started to work out the difficulty of like how I want to be able to control the guards. So I don't know if you just need to have like one guard that the AI is kind of for everything. If they see somebody, then they will go to that person and then attack them. If they see a wall, then they will go to that wall and start to spray paint it. I've also done paintballs too, where like everybody starts out with a spray paint, but eventually there will be like a paintball and paint and ammunition and paintballs and everything, so you can like so you'll have to acquire the paintball gun somewhere on the map, and then to go get paintballs to get to fill up. And I don't know if I need to like let some of the guards have that paintball for the AI. You as the player will have to go and physically get it, so it will kind of give them the leg up. In fact, the multiplayer was so complicated. Whenever I started thinking about like the AI, I'll have to get it like good enough, but AI and I can hardly understand it. So yeah, that's one challenge. But so I was already thinking on giving up on this idea, but then Blackthorn Prod, the popular YouTuber, came out with a Udemy course on multiplayer, and so I downloaded that to get started on it, and that's right around the time when my computer died, so I've had to put it on the back burner and then kind of get my computer figured out. But I'm looking to jump into the multiplayer so that I can actually make this game. It's not going to be anything too crazy. It's going to be very simplistic, pretty simple, but I'm hoping to get something fun, something simple, something that I can just put under my belt as like, yay, finally finished a game. So that's what I'm going to work on today. Now to get to it. Okay, it's not much, but it's something. Alright, as soon as we press play, we are brought to this. It's nothing special right now, but this is just kind of placeholder art, so I can get everything kind of laid out. With this, I have it to where you can come in between these two, but it's not like that on the other base. So the point is to come over here and spray paint these. I haven't gotten the collision set up yet so that this will actually like turn blue. But the idea is that you come over here, turn that blue, come over here, turn this blue. You'll see the red base over here, and you'll attack this guy and kill him. And then you'll come over here, and not only are you trying to gain these, but you're trying to turn these from red to blue. So Right now that I have these bases set up over here, and so you can't go in between this over here. Right now I have this little circle acting as a base. I don't know what I'm going to do with it. Still trying to figure out the best like win and lose state, but that'll come later. For now I have at least I have like a little something that I can work with. So that's all I have for this week. I hope you've enjoyed this glimpse into a week in the life of a van and a studio. It's weird, but it's not that much different than life in a house or an apartment. Hopefully I've inspired some more van lifers out there. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.